Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are wrestling with one of the most brutal truths in the history of wealth creation.
It's a big one.
It is. Why did the person who found the world's first industrial oil, well, why did he die poor while the man who followed him became, well, the richest person in history?
Right.
Our sources today are from First Oil Drop, Capitalism, Belief, and Maturity. And they use the birth of the oil industry as, more than just a history lesson. It's a roadmap for understanding capital itself. So our mission is to trace the journey of that first drop of oil to answer a really foundational question for you, the listener. How does value actually begin? And why does the system seem to reward the architect so much more than the pioneer?
And these sources are so powerful because they don't just give you the raw economic history. They blend it with this really profound story about the human condition. It's not just about geology or drilling. I mean, it's about the anatomy of belief, the real cost of being first, and then the mechanics of building a system. So if you want to understand capital, financial capital, personal capital, you really have to understand this story.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's start with George Bissell back in 1854. And you have to picture the scene.
Right.
Bissell is literally just staring at a black bottle of crude oil. And everyone thought this stuff was worthless. It was messy, sticky, just a pollutant that bubbled up from the ground.
Useless gunk, basically.
Totally. But Bissell had the one thing that mattered, the spark, perception. He had this singular, almost...
prophetic idea.
Exactly, prophetic idea. He believed that if exploited large enough, the world will literally light up. He saw global transformation in something everyone else just scorned.
And that right there, that illustrates the first core lesson from the sources. Capital doesn't begin with money. It never does. It begins with perception. If Bissell didn't have that insight, if he hadn't dared to assign meaning to that dark liquid, well, the industry just doesn't start. Not for decades, maybe longer.
And that leads right into the second lesson, doesn't it?
It does. Lesson 2. Value is only born when someone dares to name its worth. That boring bottle of oil only became a resource, a real asset, because Bissell insisted that it was. Until you believe in the value of something unproven, it basically doesn't exist in the marketplace.
But a belief needs proof. So Bissell gets Professor Silliman, who's like the scientific authority of the day, the big tree, to analyze the crude.
The expert.
The expert. And Silliman confirms it. He proves the oil can be distilled into a high-quality, safe lighting fuel. He validates Bissell's entire vision. This report was. It was the scientific catalyst for the whole era. But here's the detail from the sources that he gets, Tiffany. It genuinely made me pause. That crucial era-defining report. It got stuck.
And not for the reasons you'd think.
No. It wasn't a lack of technology or resources. It was delayed because of the most mundane, most shockingly human things.
Sure.
$526.08.
Wow.
You imagine. The entire foundation of modern lighting, the fuel for the second industrial revolution, is held up because of some petty financial dispute.
Over a few $100s. It's absurd.
It is. It just proves that even these huge economic shifts are so vulnerable to the smallest, human flaws. Ego, injury. It's all in there.
Yeah.
So eventually the money thing gets settled, the report is released, and now they need someone to actually execute this vision. So they hire Edwin Drake.
A former railway conductor.
Right. Not an expert.
Yeah.
And the townsfolk immediately call him the madman.
And you have to ask why. Why was he the madman?
Because what he was doing looked insane. He was trying to drill for oil deep underground with tools that were totally unproven. The traditional drillers, the guys who drilled for water and salt, they just mocked him.
So he's drilling in mud, he's drilling through public ridicule, and maybe most importantly, he's drilling in absolute solitude.
Yeah.
And this gives us lesson 3 from the sources. The pioneer is always lonely. They have to be. They operate so far outside the current understanding of value. They're doing something the majority has already decided is impossible, or just crazy. He was literally opening a market that didn't exist yet. Exactly. And until that drill struck oil, he wasn't a visionary. He was just an eccentric failure standing in a muddy field. That solitude, that's the price you pay for real innovation.
And then August 27th, 1859, the drill hits.
Yeah.
And the world just changes color. Oil flows.
The discovery is made.
But this is the central paradox of the whole story.
Right.
Drake, the man who endured all of that, the loneliness, the risk, The mockery, he's the one who proved the value, and he died poor.
Right.
Why is the system so ruthless?
It feels ruthless, and I think that's because of lesson 4, which is it's maybe the most difficult truth about capitalism to accept.
That is.
The system does not primarily reward the one who discovers the value. It rewards the one who can turn that raw potential into a system.
But wait, that feels wrong. Doesn't the discovery deserve the reward? I mean, if Drake hadn't drilled the well, there'd be nothing to systematize in the first place.
And that's the romantic injustice of it, you're right. But the market, it doesn't reward romance. It rewards efficiency and scale.
Yeah.
Think about it. Drake found raw crude oil.
Right.
By itself, crude oil is inconsistent. It's dangerous to transport. The quality is all over the place. It was just a chaotic, raw material.
So it wasn't a product yet.
Exactly. Then enter Rockefeller. He never drilled a single well. His genius was recognizing that the real wealth wasn't in the discovery itself, but in the standardization. He knew if he could guarantee the quality through refining and guarantee the delivery.
The railroads, the pipelines.
All of it, the whole distribution network. If he could do that, he could control the entire market. He turned a chaotic resource into a reliable product.
So Drake solved the supply problem, but Rockefeller solved the trust and the scale problem. He built the structure around the discovery.
Precisely, and that is the critical distinction. The kind of value that builds empires, it comes from systematization, from logistics, not just from the aha moment. The systemic thinker will almost always eclipse the brilliant lone inventor.
It's a sobering reality. And it leads us right into lesson 5, which is about the natural rhythm of these capital booms.
The cycle.
We saw the discovery phase with Drake, which was all fueled by Bissell's initial belief. Then, once the wealth was proven, the sources say it just exploded into pure greed.
The 1865 oil boom.
Yeah, where basically anyone with a shovel was trying to strike it rich.
And, as it always does, that massive exuberance leads straight to the bubble burst. The market crashed, what, in 1866?
Spectacularly. Too much supply, not enough infrastructure, just way too much chaotic investment.
And this is that immutable sequence the sources point to. Belief creates the opportunity, greed inflates it beyond reason, and the bust, the correction, forces the market to learn a crucial lesson.
And that lesson is usually about structure, about efficiency.
Exactly. It's the lesson that Rockefeller was built to answer.
So if we connect all of these economic dots, what does this story of the first oil drop really tell us about our own lives? It feels like a perfect template for personal maturity.
It really is. The crude oil is such a profound metaphor for your own overlooked or, maybe even scorned potential. It's that thing inside you that you know has value, but the world hasn't accepted it yet.
And capital, in this sense, isn't money. It's the power you have to transform that potential into something real.
Right. To turn that rough, chaotic potential into recognized systemic value.
So if you, the listener, are working on a project or an idea right now that everyone is mocking or doubting, if you feel like you're operating in total solitude.
You're standing exactly where Drake stood. You found the crude oil.
But that's not the end of the journey.
No, that's the beginning. Maturity means recognizing that. It means daring to go all the way. It's not enough to be the lone genius who finds the crude. You have to also become the architect, the Rockefeller of your own life, who builds the system of consistency and discipline around that raw potential.
There's a beautiful symmetry to it in the source. The crude oil was dark, it was rough, unappreciated. It had to be mined and refined through this huge effort. But when that process was done, it became the light for an entire era. It lit up homes, it fueled factories, it changed everything.
And that transformation mirrors the dark, rough, maybe difficult parts of your own skills or your own ideas. If you take that unproven potential and you build a reliable, systematic process around it, that is what becomes your personal source of illumination.
So I think the final takeaway for you is, it's pretty clear. Do not let the current consensus or what the world thinks determine your value. Your value is something you have to decide on and then execute rigorously, systematically.
And if you can do that, if you can transform that potential into a working, consistent system, you won't just succeed for yourself. You will actually become a light that others look to. You'll illuminate the path for your own era.
Which leaves us with the final question.
Yeah.
What dark oil, that unproven potential in your life, are you currently overlooking because you haven't yet dared to build the system around it?
That's the question to think about.
That's what we'll leave you with today. We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.